Welcome to the 2024 annual Life Service Center of America Gala. And I want to introduce our founder and the MC for today, Dr. Regeline Gigi Sabat. She is the CEO and founder of Life Service Center of America, as well as being a motivational keynote speaker, an award-winning author of several books, including Walk With Me and God First. And those books have been endorsed by Les Brown. And Gigi is also the co-author of several best-selling book collaborations, as well as being a life coach and a confidence coach. And as far as focusing and transformation goes, Regeline truly believes multi-skilled individuals make great leaders. And it isn't about focusing on so many things at once, but it's about utilizing all of your skills for the greater good and to fulfill God's purpose for our lives and to serve his people. Over to you, Gigi.
Wow, CJ, thank you so much for the warm welcome. I appreciate you. And thank you all for being here today. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. It's such an honor to have each and every one of you here. Also, thank you to our sponsors and thank you to the attendees. For those of you who are joining us within the Zoom platform, and also for those of you who are joining us on the social media platform, and also who'll be listening in, whether it's on the podcast, YouTube, or any other major podcast platform. We appreciate you and honored to have you be a part of this event. Now, thank you again, CJ, for the warm welcome. Essentially, when we talk about Life Service Center of America, the company here, a few years ago, I almost lost my life, death by strangulation in a domestic violence relationship. And after everything that happened, I stepped into God's purpose for my life. I launched a podcast, I launched a book, and I launched the company Life Service Center of America, which means like a ministry. And when we talk about Life Service Center of America, that's just us listening to God and what he needs us to do here as far as the events go. We started around COVID. For those of you who've been with us since the beginning, you are aware we were going to do the events in person. Unfortunately, I literally remember sitting there and I remember saying, okay, God, we can't do the events. And he's like, yes, we are. Yes, we are. We're going to do the events anyway. Do them anyway. How on earth are we going to do them anyway during COVID? Online. Online. I said, online. Mind you, I was always head in books, a woman barely on social media. He said, you're going to do it online. And so here we are. We haven't stopped since. And we're gradually now getting back into in-person events. And we just wrapped up our Global Warriors Conference, our second annual in-person event. And we're doing our third annual Global Warriors Conference in Palm Coast, Florida next year. It's such an honor. Yes, yes. God is good. God is good. And when we talk about Life Service Center of America, so we have programs available to folks. We provide life coaching and business coaching. We also have the Business Service Navigator, where we partner with folks and they provide their services to our members. So through our membership, you have access to all things LSCOA, all things in regards to all of the events that we do. And if you want to be a speaker, we have what is called the LSCOA Speaker Series. So anyone who's spoken on our stage, maybe you've spoken on our stage from leadership, business, human trafficking, domestic violence, sexual assault, pregnancy topic, you name it. Bless the individuals, folks who've come forward about some of those subjects that we've spoken about. I know it's not easy, whether you're a woman or a man, however you identify, just bless your soul for coming forward. It's been now, what, 5, almost 6 years, and I've truly enjoyed the journey with you. Now, today, this is the 2024 annual Global LSCOA Gala. It's our end of the year event. We do it every single year. Aside from the first year, again, that was during COVID. We were just getting onto things as far as what God needed us to do here. And literally, so this is now our 4th annual gala, and it's a blessing, and I'm grateful. And so today we'll be doing the overview. And then I also want to acknowledge our team members, the folks not just who are with us in person, but the folks who are overseas. Bless their souls for all of the work that they've done to assist us. This is possible because of them. And also each and every one of you who are part of the speaker series, the LSCOA speaker series. We'll go into a dialogue there where we'll do a Q&A segment, and we have questions for all of our speakers here tonight. And then we'll do a rewind of 2024. all of the LSCOA events. We have a video there. And then we'll fast forward to the 2025 LSCOA events. Yes, we have more events. I know. Again, that's just us listening to God and what he needs us to do there. And then we're going to go ahead and show our appreciation to our sponsors. This is possible because of them, and nonstop, their continued support, blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, all things that happen on the back end and the front end, just bless their souls. This is possible because of you as well. And then we're going to do a cheers to 2020-24 events, and also closing remarks. We're going to do closing remarks. So at this time, I just wanted to go ahead and do an overview. So first and foremost, thank you to God, all the glory to him, grateful for him, for giving me the strength and the courage to help others in so many ways. Also, a special thank you to all of you who make this possible. And thank you to all of our Life Service Center of America team members. Again, those are here in person and those that are overseas. Thank you. Grateful for each and every one of you, including our Life Service Center of America members. Honored to have you be a part of the Life Service Center of America community. Thank you to all who've trusted our services, our programs in regard to assisting you with achieving your goals. Now, over the past 5 years, we've observed 30 plus folks who have successfully completed our programs, whether it be our yearly program or our 5-month programs. Also, for those of you who took on the 10-day live challenge and got out of your comfort zone, because that's what was required to get out of your comfort zone, which is not easy, and you did it, and you trusted the process, and you successfully completed the challenge. Congratulations. And furthermore, several folks who never thought they could write a book or share their stories with the world, they have now done so and have launched their best-selling books. Congratulations. You know who you are. And now this platform is truly for all. Grateful to God for providing us with a platform to serve his people. Now, in regard to our events, again, this is possible because of you. Thank you to all for your continued support. We appreciate you. Also, for those of you who are a part of our speaker series, honored to have you be a part and make certain to continue to speak. I believe in you. Lastly, for those of you who are part of our partnership program, it has truly been an honor to partner with you for the past 5 years. Thank you. And lastly, in regard to challenges in life and business, you truly can overcome all things with him. Keep fighting the good fight. And remember, God loves to meet us where we are. Give your battles to him. Thank you. Now, I want to go ahead and acknowledge each and every one of the speakers here today in regards to our speaker series. Thank you all. We truly appreciate you. And for those who couldn't be with us tonight, thank you. Honored to have you a part of the LSCOA speaker series. Now, we are going to go ahead and move into our Q&A segment. And the first speaker that we have questions for here tonight is Angelica. And hi, Angelica. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Fantastic. Such an honor to have you here tonight. Now, Angelica is a multi-talented entrepreneur coming out of Baltimore, Maryland. Not only is she a fashion designer, model, artist, and actress, she also works as a business consultant, carpenter, and a coach. In addition, she's a 9-time best-selling author and international speaker, if not more now, right, Angelica? She has plenty more tricks up her sleeves. I've seen them, trust me. But her main job is to do private knowledge and resources for people and businesses to live happier, more successful lives and make a positive impact filled with resilience from her past traumas of abuse and witnessing the murder of someone very special to her. She is determined to prove to the world, regardless of who you are or where you come from, you can make success happen. Welcome, Angelica.
Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Now, Angelica, you spoke this year at our Global Domestic Violence Conference event, and you spoke about the power within, a pathway to self-worth and identity. Tell us a little bit more about why you selected that particular topic.
So, for all of the people who have suffered through trauma, the trauma can really impact your self-worth and your self-identity. And even people who don't have such extreme problems or extreme trauma still deal with self-identity issues because, there's always influences from the media, other people, TV, making us feel like we're not good enough. So, what I wanted to do was provide some free journaling exercises and some work and some knowledge for people to really help put themselves back together and rebuild that self-worth because no one deserves to feel worthless. We all have so much worth, and it's really about learning our value.
Very powerful. Now, you've also are someone, as we mentioned earlier, in regards to murder, witnessing the murder of someone. What if someone has witnessed that as well and they feel stuck? What message do you have for that individual?
You aren't stuck. It's so valid to feel that way. I felt that way for a long time. And even sometimes I still feel stuck. But the thing is, we can work to change our brains. It's not an overnight process. Rome wasn't built in a day. You're not going to heal from trauma in a day. But, for example, let's talk about bamboo. I know it's kind of random, but with bamboo, you have to water it every day for sometimes years, and you don't see anything sprout. You have to know that the work you're putting in is slowly fueling those changes. And before you know it, after all of these days of watering, it sprouts. And the second it sprouts, it starts growing so fast. So basically, that's kind of how we work. A lot of times, we don't see the instant results. That doesn't mean that changes aren't happening. And we just have to keep going and keep trying. So yes, we will feel stuck sometimes, but as long as we keep going, we are never truly stuck.
That's right. And now you also spoke about self-identity. Let's talk about that for a moment and low self-esteem. What if someone lacks that confidence? How can they can begin to build their confidence?
Well, there's so many ways. One way we can do it is actually start by setting little goals. So when you set goals that are too big and you're not able to achieve them, that's actually going to affect your trust in yourself. So when you start with littler goals and you achieve them, you start building up this confidence to achieve more goals and keep going. And I know it might sound a little cliche, but fake it until you make it. You need to just keep acting confident every day, wake up and think, what would the best version of me do? And then also journaling exercises are actually really helpful. And also affirmations, because what affirmations do, it feels a little silly sometimes just saying words, but every time we say those words, it affects the neural pathways in our brain. And every time we keep repeating these, the pathways get stronger. This works for negative things as well as positive things. So, for example, when you're going through trauma, that's how we can really get these negative thoughts stuck in our head. So, to, rebuild self-identity and rebuild confidence, these positive affirmations can actually be really helpful in helping us reprogram our brains.
That's right. Positive affirmations can help. Now, Angelica, you spoke at the Global Domestic Violence Conference event. Tell us real quick, just a short piece here about your story and how can others overcome domestic violence?
Yeah, so I have a few different stories actually, but I'd say I ended up with this one guy who was very physically abusive to the point where, at one point he was choking me and telling me how he was going to kill me. So, these events really jumbled my mind to say the least. And it really did take me time of rebuilding. And, like I said, even now I still struggle sometimes with it. But the reason I'm saying that is to let people know that they're not alone and it is a journey. And so the murder of Scott actually happened a little bit after the abusive relationship. So I was so depressed. I would wake up just to go back to sleep somewhere else. I was awake for like 4 hours at most. And I started to see the impact that I was having on the people around me. For example, my roommate would try to wake me up and I would attack him. And I have no recollection of that. It's like my body woke up and my mind didn't. And, I started to see these negative impacts, and that really hurt me because I've always wanted to be the person to, help and bring, positivity into people's lives. And to see the impact, like it hurt so much that I finally a switch flipped, and I was like, something has to change. And so it was actually around COVID, and I started going to all of these online events. I was signing up for literally everything and anything I could to learn because I was so, I don't want to say desperate. I was so, driven to make that change. And when I started, that's kind of, when your brain starts reprogramming. So I started going to all these events. I started meeting some amazing people and joining masterminds. And it was just a slow, gradual, watering the bamboo. And then before you know it, you sprout up. And I've just been, doing my best to help others with what I've learned.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing. And very powerful statement. Something has to change. Thank you, Angelica. Honored to have you a part of the LSCOA speaker series.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, our next speaker is Renee. Beautiful soul. And now, Renee, she has a passion for business growth and over 13 years of dedicated experience. Welcome, Renee.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. Such an honor to have you here. Now, you spoke this year at our Global Warriors Conference, our in-person event, and you spoke about focus and thrive strategies to overcome challenges. What challenges did you have to overcome and why that particular topic?
I picked that particular topic because working with new businesses, working with women entrepreneur, I have seen that when challenges occur, we do not know how to balance them. We do not know how to go around the roadblock and to put a solution in place to overcome the challenge that you could be facing. So when you have the strategies in place and understanding what is the challenge, why is it a challenge, and how am I going to get through the challenge? And a lot of this has to do with how you see yourself. How is it that you work? Who are you? And I say that so in in a sense to understand that we at times are pulled in so many directions that we want to please everyone. It's either our family, our children, our job, or whatever it is that we are doing. We just feel like we're being pulled from all ends. And how do we overcome this hurdle of not to be pulled? And this is where you need to understand what it is to set boundaries, where it is that you can help, where it is you can't help. The most important thing about the challenge is to understand how to say no, because we can't do everything. And when we find that we have less on our plate, it gives us the time to be able to focus so we can thrive on the areas in our business, but especially too in our personal life that we want to do, not what we have to do and feel like we're not getting any achievement from it.
Wow, that's very powerful. And then you also spoke at we have a partnership with World Women Conference and Awards. It's with Ragna Sinikas with World Women Conference and Awards. She's the CEO and founder of that organization. Now we did a holiday workshop, and you also spoke at the holiday workshop, Renee, and you spoke about setting goals and intentions for the new year. Why that particular topic?
Funny that you say that. Right now we're at the ends of the year, and I just actually finished a masterclass today on mastering year-end administrative tasks. A lot of times what happens is that we wait to the end of the year to do everything. But when it comes to your end of the year and what goals you want to set, you have to have a clear vision. You have to have clarity. The way that you'll be able to have that clarity is reviewing the year, the current year that you're in. A lot of times what we don't do is we don't track ourselves. It's very important to understand each quarter what it is that you are doing in your business, to understand what is working and what isn't working. Where's the revenue? Are you increasing? Are you getting those clients that are loyal? When you set realistic goals, and we all know the SMART goals, right? We all hear about them. It's understanding what it is that you want, but why do you want it? Is it something that is going to be achievable? But on the note, does it benefit what you are doing? And I always say too, with goals, don't look at it as the 3 month, the 6 month to 1 year. We're all different. And I shared that my goals I accomplish every 2 years. For whatever reason it happens. Same thing as being a speaker, as I'm working now doing this, and I started this 2 years ago. And, a lot of times too, with the challenges on that, there are things that hold us back. And, I always do say that when you have an idea, do it. Don't overthink it. Because when you overthink it, you talk yourself out. And I always use the example of a child that when they start to crawl, like they're ready to go and then they're ready to walk. And we, as the parents or grandparents, are like holding our breath that they don't fall. And they're not afraid because they don't know fear. All they know is, I want it and I'm going to go get it. So if we would go back to that, because as we grow and learn and get older, the fear is instilled with us just because of life. So, I would say we have the two little, we have one angel, have two angels. You have the one that's like, yeah, go get it. And then you have the one that's cautious saying, yeah, that sounds like a great idea, but let's think about it. You've already talked yourself out of it. So goals, when it comes to your goals, what is it that you really want and what do you want to accomplish?
That's very true and very powerful. Now, Renee, as we go into 2025, what if someone has a fear of getting out of their comfort zone? What message do you have for that individual?
Funny that you say that because I worked with someone today where they had a goal that they wanted to do and they were going to start it next week. I said, no, you're starting it now. And I want to know by the end of the day how you made it. And it was making a phone calls to someone to what it was to collaborate with their business. When you have that fear, that means do it now. You see, fear, it's not that it's fear on it, it is that you have to embrace fear because fear is where we are growing, where we want to get to that next step. If you didn't have fear, then you may not be growing. So if by chance you have that fear or you have that part of where you may not be confident, stop thinking, start doing. Because what's the worst thing that can happen? Okay, if it doesn't happen, then you switch it, put it away, put it aside. That didn't work. And now you're going to go to the next step.
That's right. And earlier we spoke about depression. I believe it was Angelica who spoke about depression. What if someone feels depressed as we wrap up this year, and they feel stuck? What message do you have for that individual?
I have to truly say, being that I have been on that line because I am one that works through PTSD, that you need to identify it. You need to listen to yourself. You have to, if you don't listen to yourself and you keep putting it away, it does not get better. And when you understand what the issue is, I always say, take time to heal and and find what's going to make you happy. And I have been working with PTSD now for 3 years. This actually is the first year I'm starting to speak. For 1 year, I couldn't speak. I couldn't go into a room. I felt as though everyone that looked at me, well, it's like when you're at a football game and they like jump on you to get the ball, right? That's kind of what I felt like. Everybody was just hovering over me and I couldn't breathe. So I did a little things like, how am I going to get out of this? So I started to do videos, but not live. I just videoed myself on my phone. And I looked at myself, okay, and then I would do it again. And then what would happen is that, there could be others out there that have PTSD. When I was diagnosed with PTSD, I was in shock. I couldn't believe it. I really thought it was hormonal. I just thought, you know, just give me something for that and I'm going to be okay. But it wasn't. And it was the shock of PTSD, which was called delayed PTSD, which I had gotten of the shock of losing my mother, one who had heart issues for 57 years. And when she did pass, it was a shock. And then 19 days later, losing my mother in law. And it was just a repeat of everything over and over again, and not being able to breathe the way I needed to because there was so much that I was caring for others. And the one thing that was told to me by my physician is that I never took care of myself. So I will say, if you are in that state, take care of you because you are important. And before you could take care of anyone, you have to take care of you.
Very powerful. And now let's talk about trauma real quick, right? We talked about a little bit about PTSD, but and you faced it, right? Let's talk about someone having a fear of facing trauma that they face. What message do you have for that individual?
I will always find to say, who are you comfortable with in just being around and to talk about the trauma? Trauma can be very, very deep. One thing I didn't realize is I experienced trauma as a child. I didn't even realize it. I experienced trauma of finding a family member who took their own life, and I found them. And a lot what happens is I always say we have the cup of life. It gets filled with, and it gets filled, and then it gets filled, and then the it flows over. And that's when everything starts to come out because we only can take so much because you will hit your limit. And when it does, that is where you really need to understand how are you going to want to deal with this. When I went through my trauma, I did not go to, and this is just me, I'm not a doctor, but I didn't go to the how do I say, the traditional way of, who to speak with and so forth. I went holistic with mine. I went to those that understood the inner soul. And when I worked with someone who helped me to understand that, that's when I realized my trauma finally, when my cup ran it over, was the shock of loss of losing my mom. And it was funny too, because when I went through this session, I was told you may smell things and you may hear things. And I remember smelling a perfume that was my grandmother's who had passed. And I thought it was the flower next to me, but it was fake. So you have to find out what is the right treatment for you. We're not all the same. And I find holistically, it was for me. And I found that crystals, which I never was into before, but when things happen, you change of what it is that you want. And the last trauma I went through was when my husband had his major heart attack a few months ago. And I saw what was important in life. I saw who were my friends, who supported me, who was always there for me. So when I look at my faith now, and I am extremely grateful of what God has given me and given my husband a second chance to be with us, given us the opportunity to celebrate our 41st anniversary together. That's what means to me. Everything else is secondary. My business, if I'm bringing income in, when you let go of that and truly see what is important to you and what peace is it bringing.
Love that. And sounds like you've been on a gratitude journey as well. That's powerful. Thank you so much, Renee. Now, you also spoke about grief. I want to circle back to it real quick.
Mhm.
Oftentimes, folks talk about the loss of a loved one and wanting to know, is it okay to feel the emotions? Is it okay, Renee? Tell us more.
Grief, the emotions, especially now that we are in the holiday times. I remember when I first lost my mom, and my mom and I weren't very close, but when I moved here to Florida the last 4 years before she passed, we became very, very close. And I was grateful that I saw my mom in 2019, who surprised me for Christmas because I did not know that would be the last time I would see her, being she passed in 2021 and we had COVID and I couldn't go back to New York. But the grief part is I remember the tears just going outside, but the I want to say the not the calming, but the piece of it was the cardinal, the red cardinal that visited me every day. And that cardinal, whenever I was down or crying or what have you, always was there, just sitting right in front of me. One time it actually flew to my face and went around to the side of my house. And it's something when you deal with your grief, that's the way that you can heal. You have to heal. And when I healed, the cardinal, it periodically comes, but not like it used to. But that's okay because that means I'm okay. So grief, you remember the good memories, the laughter, the funny times, and they're always within your heart. They never leave you
I love
of
it.
who you. Mhm.
Love it. Deal with the grief. Very powerful. Thank you so much, Renee. We appreciate
Yep.
you. Honored to
Thank
have you as an LSCOA speaker.
you.
Now, the next speakers that we are having coming up here are is the Dove family here. That's Wes Dove and Cindy Dove. The Dove family, beautiful souls. Now, prior to founding Dove Development and Consulting, Wes and Cindy Dove developed strong professional resumes while working in both large corporations and small family-owned businesses. And now, in addition to extensive work in behavior-based safety throughout North America, Wes held responsibility for safety compliance, human resources, and personnel development in multiple industries. And now, in over 20 years in the healthcare field, Cindy held responsibility for operations, hospice, and sales. Now, by applying a foundation of leadership and effective workplace communication principles, Cindy created high levels of success for the companies she served. And now both have served as executive directors with the Maxwell Leadership Team and on that organization's President's Advisory Council. They're also certified human behavior consultants through Personality Insights. And now their primary focus is filling the needs they personally experience and also watch great organizations struggle with while attempting to develop the soft skills of their up and coming leaders. And now by providing practical tools for immediate implementation, Wes and Sydney help teams overcome some of the biggest roadblocks preventing their clients from achieving peak performance and profitability in their workplace. And now to learn more about working directly with the Dove family, you can contact them at the admin at dove-development.net. Welcome to the Dove family.
Thank you, Gigi.
You're welcome. Now, the Dove family, Wes and Sydney, you both have spoken at our Global Leadership Conference this year. And the topic that you chose was the cost of leadership. Why? Who wants to go first? Wes or Cindy?
I can open it up if you'd like, Wes.
Sure.
Okay, well, we dug into this idea of the cost of leadership because we saw how leaders in organizations were having gaps in where they wanted to be and needed to be and where they really were. So Wes actually got to work. He writes a lot of content. I write some, he writes a lot. And he wrote a book called What's Killing Your Profitability? It all boils down to leadership. And one of the chapters in the book is about the cost of leadership and specifically profitability killers that happen in organizations and how we can help leaders capture that lost profitability in specific areas. So I'll just kind of frame it up a little bit and hand it over to Wes. Organizations of all sizes invest significant amounts of time, money, and energy on improving their processes with hopes of becoming more profitable. And sometimes that's based on a goal of becoming, best in class, but they at least need to be very competitive with their customers and in attracting and keeping good talent. Now, too often this can have an immediate impact on profitability as well as the lives and the people that they're serving. And the profitability can be overlooked when they get into a cycle of situations going on in the organization where fires are being put out, or a lot of organizations now are really having a challenge with recruitment and retention, but it really all comes back down to leadership. So Wes, I'll hand it over to you.
Yeah, Gigi, I'll build on it. I grew up as a carpenter, kind of like you mentioned with Angelica earlier, and I worked in manufacturing. And at 24 years old, when Cindy and I got back from our honeymoon, I started a new position where I had to get people to do what I was telling them to do. And they'd worked in that facility longer than I'd been alive. And I'm here with no authority. I've got no education, barely graduated high school. And I thought, dear God, how am I going to make this work? Because our family depends on it. And I dove into communication and trying to understand what leadership really was, because I was a really good worker. I just didn't understand the people side of it. And I watched a lot of really, really good folks that worked hard, grow in their respective careers, but then fail to get results through the people. And I had to figure out that disconnect. And over the next 15 years that followed in manufacturing specifically, I had a boss that always held me very accountable to any time I would take a course or go to a webinar or go to a conference or set in on a webinar, conference calls mainly in those days. He said, you better show me how we can track the return on investment, not in cost or opportunity cost or what we saved theoretically in safety or human resources, but I want to see how you impact productivity and our overall profitability. And that was incredibly hard, but I learned how to measure the impact of communication and leadership over in our financials. So we've worked really, really hard to be able to make it very simple for everybody we work with to understand here's how when we apply these behaviors, we can track the results. So that's kind of been a mission for us for the last number of years.
Wow, thank you so much. And now, what message do you both have for a startup company? What message do you have for those individuals?
I'll jump in and share first is that, gosh, the financials matter, but if we take good care of the people and we don't compromise our values, then the financials take care of themselves.
And I'll add to continue growing yourself. We can only lead others and really lead our organization as well as we're leading us. And I think that's what each of us are really hitting on here in this gala, from what I'm hearing so far, is how, in different ways we can pick up from wherever we are, whatever's happened to us, wherever we want to go, and we can lead ourselves well. We have to build us first, and then we can lead our organization and others.
Love that. Build yourself first before you lead others. Very powerful. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the individual. Maybe they're struggling with allowing their faith into their business. Oftentimes, you hear folks speak openly about that. What message do you have for those individuals?
Is that for Wes and I?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm sorry, can you repeat the question, Faith?
Yes, ma'am. Essentially, what if an individual is struggling with allowing their faith into their business, but they want to so badly to allow their faith into their business? We see this often with business owners. What message do you have for that particular individual?
Stay genuine. Absolutely stay who you are. And for Wes and I, that is, we talk about God, we add our faith into our business. If someone else is not, of a faith of any type, generally they're very open, to hearing, and they understand, but they know and respect that we are being genuine and that we, love and respect and value everyone that we're working with or sitting across from, talking to. And so we respect where they are and they respect where we are.
Yeah, Gigi, we had the opportunity here. We're in Virginia, and one of the Senate candidates, we had an opportunity with our governor and a couple of the politicians. I'm not very political, but we were invited recently, just before the election, to go to a prayer breakfast. And a gentleman named Hung Cao ran for Senate here in Virginia at the national level, but it's the Virginia seat. And he made a comment that he grew up Buddhist, he lived in Muslim countries, and today he's a Christian. And he said, when I was growing up, people said, "Hey, I'll fight you, but you can't use that karate." And he said, I can't separate the two. Karate, that's what I learned as a small child growing up in Asia. That's what you do. He said, I can't separate one from the other. He said, today, if you're going to ask me to separate my faith from my politics, I can't separate the two. It's who I am. And that's the part that, hey, we're going to talk about what we're going to talk about. And you don't have to take it, but understand, I try to serve people because I love people, and I don't always like people. I want to serve people because Jesus says I'm supposed to serve and love people, but he doesn't tell me I have to like everybody all the time, because there's a little bit of hillbilly redneck that still would like to fight somebody every now and then, but I know I'm supposed to love them even through that process.
Thank you so much, Wes and Cindy. Now, next question for you all. Have you all faced any business challenges? And also, do you have any messages for an individual who may be facing a business challenge today?
I'll start. Yeah, the short answer is always. We just had a conversation yesterday. Quite frankly, there a month ago we had feedback from a long-term organization that we've done a lot to serve them. They've done minimal business with us, but they said, "Hey, we're gonna go a different direction. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna work with somebody not local but states away because we're afraid they'll take our business if we don't." And you know what? God bless you. You do what you do. And I'm going to stand on my principles and my values. Money's easy to make. I can't buy my principles back if I compromise them.
Wow, very powerful. And Sydney, did you want to add any comments to that?
Just an amen. We have actually had that experience um, more than once, not really quite in that way, but an experience where in business we have values and principles, and we're not going to cross that line. And we've actually walked away from hundreds of thousands of dollars because we're not going to do something against our values. But we're happy, we sleep good at night, and God sends that back. He takes that seed and plants it somewhere else.
Wow, very powerful. Thank you both. And lastly, how can folks support you all, and what's next for the Doe family? How can we support you all?
Well, so as we speak, we're weeks away from the pre-sale of a new book called Leading with a Clear Purpose that will be released. We'll do an ebook through Amazon at 99 cents. We'll be promoting that pretty heavily. Just like we did with What's Killing Your Profitability last year. And I'm about halfway done with the third book, but probably will wait another year to publish that because that's a heavy lift to go through the process.
Awesome. Thank you both. And
Thank
honored
you
to have both of
Thank
you a part of
you.
the LSCOA Speaker Series. You're welcome. Now, our next speaker is CJ Grace. And CJ has spoken on our platforms as well. And we appreciate you. Now, CJ is a humorist. She's also an author. And CJ is a former BBC journalist and currently a live TV co-host on the Thriving Woman Network. Now, CJ dealt with discovering her husband, adultery, and then getting breast cancer for the second time by refusing the victim role and keeping her snarky Monty Python style sense of humor. CJ has a BRCA gene mutation that increases her breast cancer risks. Welcome, CJ.
Thank you so much for having me on your platform. And I'm honored to have been a speaker for the past, I think, 3 years, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It's been such an honor, and it's just been an honor to collaborate with you. And thank you so much for coming forward in regards to your breast cancer journey as well. We know it's not easy. Thank you. Now, CJ, you spoke at the Global Breast Cancer Conference this year. That was our 5th annual Global Breast Cancer Conference. And you spoke about Free Your Breasts, the bra cancer link. Why?
Because it's not that well known that the link between bras and breast cancer is stronger than the link between smoking and lung cancer. And the reason why is fairly simple because, where do most toxins and waste products collect in the body? In the fatty tissue. Where do we women have fatty tissue? In our breasts. Now, normally, that stuff is flushed out by the lymph system. But if you are constricting that area with a bra, particularly around your underarms and where you've got a lot of lymph nodes, as well as on the breasts themselves, the longer you wear that bra, the tighter it is, the more likely you are to have issues like pain in your breasts, cysts, and you can also get tumors. And the most important book I read when I was doing research for my second book, which was My Wild Ride, How to Thrive After Breast Cancer and Infidelity. I did a ton of reading for that book. I referenced over 70 books and over 100 articles and studies. And the book that really I found the most hard-hitting was one by Sydney Ross Singer, which is entitled Dressed to Kill, the link between breast cancer and bras. And he detailed exactly all that he did. They did a very big study themselves, he and his wife. He also talked about previous studies that had shown a link. And the sad thing about this, though, is that the Singers thought they would be welcomed by the breast cancer community with open arms, and that the breast cancer community would be advertising the fact that bras weren't good for you. But in fact, they were shunned. And this particular issue was I suppose blocked from public knowledge, because when you Google it, when you Google a bra breast cancer link, the only study that comes up is a 2014 Hutchinson study, which shows no link between bras and breast cancer. But that study had no control group of women who didn't wear bras. That would be like comparing, if you're trying to find out how bad is smoking, well, you need to compare smokers with non-smokers. And equally, if you want to find out how bad bras are, you need to compare people who wear bras with people who don't wear bras. And this study didn't do that. And furthermore, they only looked at post-menopausal women in whom the effects were far weaker because of something called survivor bias. And what survivor bias is that generally anybody who might have died off earlier from having breast cancer from wearing bras wouldn't be included in the study because it only looked at post-menopausal women. But in fact, that is the only study that shows no link. All the other ones, going back to even a Harvard study from 1991, show a strong correlation between breast cancer and bras. And it's a very simple, easy, free way to reduce your breast cancer link. I mean, it doesn't cost you anything. Just give up your bra. Or if you're sort of well endowed and maybe it's uncomfortable to do things like sports or be at, a business meeting if you don't wear a bra, well, limit your use. The less you wear the bra and the less tight it is, the better it is for your body. And so I'm always bringing up that link. And because I'm also a comic self-help writer as well, I do a lot of research, but in fact, comedy is a good way to make kind of difficult subjects more palatable. So I put a lot of humor in that. And I'm known in my area as the lady who throws the pink bras around because I have a load of pink bras. And at Earth Day and various festivals, I'm on stage throwing pink bras. And so I'm sort of well known for that.
Wow.
Throw away your bra. That's what I'm saying.
Usually you'll have the bra with you, right? Yeah,
well, I do. I have a load here. Here they are. Let's throw them away.
Thank you so much. And such a powerful testimony. And again, we know it's not easy talking about the breast cancer journey that you went through. Thank you so much, CJ. CJ, what message do you have for an individual who was just diagnosed with breast cancer and maybe they feel like it's the end?
Well, I would always say that there is always hope. And for me, knowledge was power. I wanted to find out as much as I can because there's no one size fits all answer to breast cancer. And in fact, breast cancer, if it's early stage, first instance of breast cancer, the survival rates for that are almost 100%. That's pretty good. But that being said, if you were like me and you had a second case of breast cancer and you have the BRCA gene, then it's not quite, the statistics aren't quite as great as that. But breast cancer is absolutely not a death sentence. Early treatment is always way better than waiting to see what's going to happen. And it's always a good idea to research your options because the field is always changing. There is also a ton of alternative stuff out there, a lot of which you will not hear about from your doctor. So if you want to really find out the whole picture, it's probably a good idea to look at that too. For example, the Bollingers have written a lot of books, a lot of material about alternative cancer cures because it's Ty and Charlene Bollinger. They lost their parents to cancer, and it was it was horrible. And they felt that there had to be a better way. And they have investigated all kinds of different alternative treatments from around the world. And some of them do show promise. And I myself combined alternative treatments with conventional treatments. And again, another thing I would say to somebody who's recently been diagnosed with breast cancer is you will be besieged with unsolicited advice because everybody and their mother's uncle will have the solution. And if you don't do what they say, oh my God, you could die of cancer. I had that. And in fact, the first cartoon in my book, My Wild Ride, How to Thrive After Breast Cancer and Infidelity, is a cartoon of all the advice I received. One of them is, the straight-laced person who's saying to you, oh, well, alternative medicine is pure quackery. You shouldn't be wasting your time on that. And then I also had some hippy-dippy friends, and those people would say, well, chemo and radiation is toxic and doesn't work. And then I had someone who I'm not going to name, but this guy was shouting at me, you know, the reason why you got cancer is because you're too stressed and you're too tense. If you don't relax, your cancer will come back. And of course, everybody knows that it really makes you relax if somebody's shouting at you. I mean, the thing is, you can't be relaxed and happy and in a good mood all the time when you're going through cancer treatment. You will have some down moments. But, you know, obviously it's good to be as positive as possible, but you don't want to feel bad about feeling bad. You will feel bad some of the time, but then you'll get over it. And I'll tell you, one of the keys for me for getting over that was humor, watching comedies rather than depressing dramas. I gave up watching the news, even though I was a BBC journalist and I used to watch the news all the time. Don't bother watching the news now because it's all bad news. How does that make you feel? Not great. So, you know, those were the things I did. Humor was huge, and information, knowledge was power for me. I really made sure I did all my research, and I was pretty judicious in taking in what people told me I needed to do to get over the cancer, because really I would have needed 72 hours in the day to do all of the treatments that people said I needed to do, or I might die. Oh my God. But, you know, all I can say is, did I do the right thing? For example, I took a controversial view. I did not have a mastectomy that was advised to me to have. After the Angelina Jolie story of her going public about having a prophylactic bilateral mastectomy because of her BRCA gene profile. A lot of the doctors were way more aggressive about promoting mastectomies rather than lumpectomies. And so I took the controversial view that I did not want to do that. And one of the reasons is breast implant illness is very real. I knew a lot of women who had had major systemic problems from breast implants, and they only managed to get over them when those implants were removed. And so, to give you an example, Nicole Deruda has a Facebook support group for breast cancer implants, for breast implant illness. Nicole Deruda, I think it's called Healing with Nicole Deruda, Healing Breast Implant Illness. Well, to date, that site, I believe, has more than 190,000 members. So it is a big deal. Breast implant illness is very real, and there's even an FDA warning on those right now. So those are the things I like to bring awareness to that and make people feel that they have choices to make, and that there isn't a one size fits out all answer, and that they have to trust their gut, keep, you know, try and find humor and the absurd humor in everything they can, and there is always hope.
Well, now that is quite intriguing how you're able to intertwine humor, connect humor with everything that you went through, and it's a powerful testimony. Thank you, CJ. Now, lastly, why is it important to continue to raise awareness and educate others about both breast cancer and cancer, both topics that you mentioned today?
Because it can save lives. You know, I don't know how many, it's very hard to quantify, but by publicizing, for example, the bra breast cancer link, most likely I have saved people from getting breast cancer. I cannot say, oh yes, I've saved 20.6 people from breast cancer from what I've said. No, I don't, I have no idea, but I am convinced that by educating people on that issue, I have saved lives. Equally, I am convinced that by educating people about breast implant illness, I have saved a huge amount of suffering. And, you know, a lot of women are choosing to go flat, for example, after mastectomies to avoid breast implants altogether. So I think it's really important, and it's really important to be educated because, you know, sometimes ignorance is bliss, but not necessarily as far as cancer is concerned.
It's very true. Thank you so much, CJ. We appreciate you and honor to have you a part of the LSCOA Speaker Series. Now, our next speaker is Islith Stutz. And Islith is an owner of the first bilingual publishing company in the state of Arkansas called Authors Are Us. She's an executive director of nonprofit Learning Idiom, where she's the host to podcasts Moving Mountains for You and Spanglish podcasts. transcending La Familia. Originally from Southern California and currently in Central Arkansas, she serves as a bilingual realtor for Coldwell Banker. Being a mom to published author Kevin, who's autistic, inspired her to write poetry throughout the years. Her stage name is Sashi, Ice Queen. She's a immigration advocate and loves sharing and educating her Latino community about real estate, mental health, and family life. And now, Iceland, welcome.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello, friend.
Hello, friends. Now, her and her husband, they love to joke with me all the time because when I start off my motivational weekly quotes that I share on social media and elsewhere in the emails, I'll say, "Hey, friend." If you follow me, I'll share that often before the quote. Grateful for our friendship and grateful for each and every one of you beautiful souls. Anyhow, Islip, so you spoke at our Global Health and Wellness Conference this year, and you spoke about how acceptance and exercise creates powerful habits in your business journey. Why did you select that topic, Islip?
So, 21 days is the amount of days that it takes for you to develop a habit. And when it comes to business and when it comes to business in general, like literally, if you are not conscious of your health journey, it's going to affect your business because it's going to affect you. And so, I my business journey started back in, 2019, and I saw my business like exponentially like go, way better when I was taking care of my health. Not only like my physical health, but my mental health. A lot of people don't really realize that your stomach is your second brain. And so if you have digestional issues and you have a lot of like health related issues with your stomach, it really affects like you get headaches. It just really makes you really just unhealthy, really. And so decided I used to be a health coach and I focused on just food. It was with Optavia, which they send you, food that is healthy, and so that's one of the things that I, learned over the years. And with my mom being like a, home remedies, um, she loves home remedies. So like most Latino culture, like we're very, very like strong on like being healthy and the natural route, not always taking medications for everything. And so, there's certain things that I've learned not only in my health journey, but also because my mom loves anything to do with like home remedies, that had helped me as a business owner because I got to really take care of my mental health and take care of my physical health. And it's really, really important because if you are not feeling 100%, you can't be 100% for your business. You can't be 100% for your clients. You can't be 100% for your family. And so it is really, really essential for you to really just look in the mirror and honestly stop being lazy. Like make those habits. Like I said, it's 21 days for you to create a habit. Wake up 20, 30 minutes early, go for a walk. If you sit down and you're constantly sitting down, so there's this study that was done that somebody who is from, 9 to 5, sitting down for that long, the life expectancy is the same as if you smoke a pack of cigarettes. So like your life expectancy goes down if you're sitting for that long. So what they recommend is every hour, even if you have a job sitting down, is to stand up every hour, so that you're not sitting down for that long of a period. And so now that, I do tend to sit down a lot more just because I'm either reading a book or editing a book or talking to a client on Zoom, or make sure that I have a timer on my phone that every hour I stand up, stretch, and then, so there's just little things that you can do for your health and for yourself that are going to in turn help your business and help you feel better to be the best you.
Very powerful. Now, earlier when I introduced you, we spoke about you being a published author and how your son, Kevin, who I had the pleasure of meeting, beautiful soul, by the way, he's autistic and he inspired you to write poetry throughout the years. Tell us about your experience as a mother with a son who's autistic. And what message do you have for another mother as well who has a child who's autistic?
So that's one of my favorite topics. I love talking about special need parenting because he's a preteen right now. He's 13 and he graduated speech therapy. It took him 10 years, but I was so proud of him. And so my message for any special needs out there, parent, is to, I'm a big therapy advocate. Don't feel bad that, you maybe like you don't see any of the progress. Small progress is still progress. And so whenever it comes to like that long journey of, those milestones that the therapist should be talking to you about and telling you which ones they've met and which ones they haven't, be aware that there is the light of it at the end of the tunnel and they will eventually meet those milestones. Especially when it comes to like smaller kids. I know like there's so like it's a little bit more difficult to have that patience, but my number one piece of advice for any special needs parent is to just pray. Honestly, like I'm an ordained minister, so is my husband. And so that really has helped me be able to better parent my son is because God knows him better than I do. And so I pray to help him, to help me parent him better. And so that's my number one piece of advice is to make sure you take him to those therapies and make sure that you pray just to have that peace within yourself, but also so that you can then be a better parent for your child.
That's awesome. And now, in the past, you've also spoken at our faith conference, and I know that you have a few upcoming projects that you share publicly with the world in regards to faith. Tell us a little bit more about those projects and what's next for you.
So I'm Jewish, and even though I don't practice Judaism, it is in my blood, so I know a lot of the customs. My husband's Christian, and so he was raised Baptist. So we have a very interesting conversations all the time, especially when it comes to food, because in the Jewish world and in the Judaism, you can't have bacon or you can't have, shrimp or certain things like that. And so he's like a Southern, loves to hunt, will eat anything type of person. And so, being able to have that, understanding and, just kind of like underlining faith in, a higher power. Of course, we attend a Christian church, so I'm a Christian. I'm not necessarily I don't practice Judaism. But I still educate him on my on my beliefs just because it's good to know. Like there's certain things that I take from Judaism that I apply to my journey because in reality, like all religion is man-made. I do identify as a Christian because it's the most one that you could like classify me in, but I make sure to educate him and also um, just be more open to a lot of different things and honestly not learn how to not judge people and like just learn to love people instead of hating them. I think nowadays like it's so easy to hate someone or judge someone or just not have that initial loving manner. And so like the Bible says, you will know them by if they love like because of their love. And so that is, the number one thing that I always try to keep in mind when, we help a client that's in the LGBT community or, someone that doesn't align with our beliefs. My job was not to judge them, not to turn them into my faith or, whatever. My job is to just love them.
Love it. Now, Isla, lastly, what is your favorite verse?
Okay, so um currently, I mean, I think we have all like I think it depends on, where you are in your life. I will say that my favorite verse is actually a prayer. And it's the prayer of Jabez. And the reason why it's my favorite is because it's changed my life. This small prayer, I've been praying it, I want to say for the last 3 years. And ever since I started praying it, like I definitely saw the increase in my influence and in my business. And it's really four simple things. And I'm gonna say it in Spanish and then I'll translate it for you or I'll interpret it for you guys. So it's te ruego que me des tu bendición, que expandas mi territorio, que me libres de todos los males para que yo no sufra. So it's basically saying, I beg of you to bless me, um, expand my territory, free me from harm so that I may not suffer. So that's the prayer that I literally say every day because we never know what we're going to walk into. I'm a, podcast producer and a publisher, and um, I think in a lot of different areas, I am a referring agent when it comes to real estate. And so, but I never know who's gonna be on the other side of that screen or who's gonna be in that room. And so that prayer kind of just covers me, but also just puts me in the right mindset to be able to serve them the best.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Iceland. And it's such an honor to have you and your husband, John Stutz, a part of our LSCOA speaker series. Such an honor. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. I did want to mention we're gonna launch a life group because we're both, reverends, and so my husband John, it's a 343 life group, and so that's something that he's definitely excited for next year. So we're only gonna take 12 people at a time every 4 months and have them start their author journey, but at the same time be able to work with them and help them heal childhood trauma. So.
Amazing. And why is child raising awareness about childhood trauma so important, Iceland? As you know, I've also experienced childhood trauma when I was 8 years old. So tell us more, Iceland.
So when it comes to the trauma thing, my husband knows a lot more. He's actually here if you want to, if he's allowed to talk right now, because he does
Part of our
more.
speaker series. We'd love to have John on.
Okay, well, go ahead, baby. So one moment.
Welcome, John. Such an honor. He spoke at our Global Warriors Conference this year, our in-person event. Welcome, John.
Friend.
Hey,
Oh, what you taking my hat for?
they can't see your face.
They don't need to see this. They just need to see the hair. That's it. Okay, so she left out a few things. Kind of a big reason why I'm glad she let me intervene for a quick second. So 343 Life Group is not just about helping with the author journey. I'm helping them on their spiritual journey, their journey through addictions, um, their journey through oh crap, I'm drawing a blank here. I was put on the spot super fast. Um, and then their childhood trauma. So I work with one of the biggest neuroscientists in the state of Texas. His name is Dr. Rob Kelly. He's a very big mentor to me, very big inspiration to me. And, you know, with us going to a conference we had with him back in, I believe it was May, going into June of this year, we got to host the second annual Neuro Hero Conference, where we got to learn more about um, childhood trauma, neurology, addictions, and what they can cause on your brain, and the emotional and physical aspect of what it can cause later on for you as an adult in life. And so I said that I don't want to make this life group just about, helping authors along their journeys. There's a lot of people that struggle with mental health, and I'm a huge advocate on that. As Gigi was saying, I did speak in a few conferences with her now. Um, that has been my thing. If you actually go back and watch my previous conference that I had with Gigi, I did speak on domestic violence and the trauma that is endured during that kind of marital domestic violence. We are trying to change the world a day at a time. And so eventually we're going to open it up to where it's more than 12 people at a time. We've just got to get that expansion going. Gigi has been a huge inspiration, not just to my wife, but to me as well. She has just taken this sector of not just business, but in mental health awareness by storm. Um, I get her videos every morning. I wake up to, "Hello, friend. You are beautiful this morning." I'm like, you know what? I can't even be mad that it's early. It's Gigi. Big smile. And, because of that, it's inspired me to keep going further, doing more. I'm actually getting ready to, I'm trying to think of a different word. I don't want to use the B word. I don't want to use, I want to say, I'll just use expand for a better word. Um, or explode here in our community because people are starting to see us as ordained reverends. And, we're starting to connect with more and more people. And that's to anybody that doesn't know how to do this, that is how you gain the love and trust of people around you. You've got to start where you're at. You've got to look at who you're surrounded by. Something that me and Rob have talked a lot about is you are the 5 people that you surround yourself with. You got to think about that. Who are the 5 closest people in your life? That will show the world who you are. Because in this day and time, it is a very judgmental, hypocritical, mean, cruel kind of place. And we're trying to be the beacons of light and all the darkness. We just had this conversation the other night. That's why I don't call myself the dark knight. I call myself the white knight because I beam off all that bright energy. As Gigi, I come in, it's time to go. Like I don't hold back. And that's why, I love being able to bring my presence forward in these kind of conferences because yes, there may be a lot of great energy that all of you in this panel may bring. But it's always good to have that over exaggerant person, somebody like Gigi that's going to pick you up and make you climb further up the ladder. You okay? So good analogy. You're climbing up the side of a water tower. Okay, you're already halfway there. Are you going to look down and get scared, or are you going to keep climbing and look towards what's up above you? That's what you got to look at. What's on the road ahead? That's all we're trying to do here is trying to get ahead. It's never the hare that finishes the race, it's the turtle. You don't have to go fast. You don't have to change a million lives. You could have just changed one life and that could have made the difference of everything. So, I mean, I appreciate everybody that's taken the time to listen to me. I will ramble for hours if I don't stop talking.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
I gotta listen to it every day.
but also for everybody that has not heard, we became #1 bestsellers on Amazon on December 1st with our book called 365.
It's Faith Moves devotional.
It's a 365-day devotional. We would implore you all to read it when you can. I am actually going to be writing my first book as of this next year, and we're hoping to get that international bestseller status like someone else I know.
Yeah, I'm already an international bilingual best-selling
Um,
author. So
we extend our graces to everybody. But before I get off, I want to tell you who Gigi is. If you don't know Gigi as well as we do, this woman has been so persistent and consistent with us. You never get a dull moment with Gigi. It's always pang, 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 like back and forth. She is right there, ready for anything. When I lost my brother back in October, this woman was hitting my wife up. Hey, is John doing okay? How is he feeling? Is there anything I can do? I'm here for you and your family. We appreciate you and everything that you do. That's the kind of people that I love to see in this world. It's the people who have all the love and the gratitude to share with the world, even if it doesn't benefit them. That she is truly a genuine person, and I'm glad that she keeps hosting these conferences because I get excited to see what's coming next. What has she got in store? Because you never know. She changed our lives. Watch her change yours. But I'm gonna get out of here, y'all. I'm gonna give this back to my wife because, like I said, I will keep talking.
Thank you. Thank you so much, John. We appreciate you and all the glory to God. This is all possible because of him. And again, thank you, John and Iceland. Now, for those of you who don't know John, bless his soul for all the work that he does as an advocate for mental health and autism. Now, he grew up with autism. It was very challenging for him, but he's overcome a lot. But not just that, he's also a mechanic, publisher, and professional driver, an aspiring comedian. Again, John, thank you so much. We appreciate you. And Iceland, we appreciate you and all the work that you all do on the front lines. Bless your souls.
yeah, I think it's when you're part of a community, it's and both of us have served our communities all our lives. He's a generational fireman. And I'm, a preacher's kid. So we served our community all our lives in different ways. But just having that servant's heart, I think, is so important, especially in your business. If you're thinking of the money and the money and the money in your business, it's not, I mean, maybe you'll get some kind of success, but I'm just telling you, if you have your heart in serving and serving and serving instead of thinking of yourself and thinking of your income and your pocket, you're not really making the impact that you could if you had that servant's heart. And so I'm just grateful and thankful that I have a husband that actually does have that servant's heart. And, there's a reason why we have a nonprofit. Not everyone does. And honestly, it is really time consuming, but we choose to always remain to have that, to be able to give back to our community because that's how we were raised. And so if you weren't raised like that, like I said in the beginning, 21 days, a habit is formed. And so you can choose to do that. So yeah, that's something I wanted to end with.
That's right. Servant leadership truly matters. Now, my word of the year every year is serve. Ladies and gentlemen, what's your word of the year? Put it in the chat. Your word of the year. Uh, and again, Islith and John, thank you so much. We appreciate you and honored to have the Stutz family a part of the LSCOA speaker series.
I'm honored that she keeps referring to us as the Stutz family now.
Oh yeah, we're newlyweds. So like whenever he was talking about like DV, marital, that was his previous marriage. We both divorced our abusers, thank God.
Yes. Now I'm very traditional, and that's the conservative in me, and especially respecting you all. And again, grateful for you all and honored to have the Stutz family here. Thank you.
We're always honored to be with Gigi.
Now, our next speaker is Lisa. And Lisa is a two-time breast cancer survivor and three-time cancer overcomer. Lisa is the founder and CEO of Cancer Life Organizing, LLC. Inspired by her experiences with cancer treatment, she developed a non-medical cancer life organizer and other innovative tools to help cancer patients and their caregivers reduce overwhelm, maintain productivity, and find greater peace during treatment and beyond. Now, Lisa is a member of the National Cancer Survivors Day Speakers Bureau, and Lisa combines practical organizing strategies with motivational insights gleaned from her multiple cancer journeys. Recognized as a Making Strides Against Breast Cancer Portrait of Hope and by Moffitt Cancer Center's Salute to Survivor program. She empowers the breast cancer community with her mantra, the best way out is always through. If I can do it, you can too. And Lisa's talks and organizing systems, tools, and coaching services offer hope and practical support to those navigating the complexities of cancer. Now, Alignable, the largest online referral network for small businesses, honored Lisa as the local business person of the year in Carrollwood, Tampa, Florida from 2022 to 2024. Welcome, Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Now, Lisa, you spoke at our Global Breast Cancer Conference. That's the 5th annual Global Breast Cancer Conference we do at Ragnar-Sneakus with World Women Conference and Awards. Now, yes. You spoke about organizing your way through breast cancer, finding productivity and peace in the midst of chaos. Why did you select that topic?
Well, the mission that I have to help empower cancer patients and their caregivers with organizing is born from my own personal experience. When I was going through treatment for my third cancer, that involved a year-long treatment of chemotherapy and radiation and targeted therapy and all of the things. Between the treatment side effects and the medication side effects, I, who am an ultra organizer, my past position was being an executive assistant for C-suite executives and CEOs. I found myself in a position where I was feeling extremely disorganized. I have fatigue and chemo fog. And those really created challenges for me in order to be productive. And like someone else had mentioned earlier, you don't want to feel bad. You don't want to feel like a slug. You don't want to feel like you can't manage and take care of the things you need to take care of in life. So I decided that I need to kind of fall on all of my expertise that I had learned through my 20 plus years of being an executive assistant and professional organizer, and decided that I would create a system that would help me keep going, help me keep track of all the appointments and all of the paperwork that I was inundated with. And find ways to just keep going. And I know that some of the other speakers have mentioned this too. I think we all have somewhat of a common theme in that we're going to take what comes our way and somehow find the fortitude, right? And the way that we can overcome this. And for me, organizing played a very key role. And then when I was blessed and lucky enough to get through that last cancer treatment, I decided that it was time for me to help others who are going through it in the same way. And that's when I took the system that I had created for myself and wanted to share it with others, along with coaching services to help motivate and inspire people to keep moving forward.
Are you attempting to share your screen, Lisa?
I am not.
Okay, awesome. And thank you so much, Lisa. We appreciate it.
Okay.
Now, Lisa, let's talk about challenges because we spoke a little bit about your challenge. Now, what if an individual is currently facing a challenge today and they feel stuck? What message do you have for that individual?
The message that I have, I think, is similar to what some of the other speakers have said. As long as we're here, there's always hope. And we need to also look forward and find ways that we can take control, reduce the overwhelm, and strive to find peace and joy despite the chaos and the challenges that we're facing. Cancer can be very overwhelming and very stressful, and it impacts your entire life. It also impacts others around you. And I just always believed that I was going to get through it. And as others have mentioned as well, faith was a big, big part of that. As a person who's been diagnosed with multiple cancers, my first one was in 2011. I had a second diagnosis in 2018, and then another in 2020 during COVID. It can be very easy, right, to kind of feel like, why me? What is going on? And you can absolutely, if you're not careful, fall into that victim mentality. But instead, for me, I just believed that I could keep going and that at the end of it, there was going to be some amazing blessing waiting for me after I got through the journey. And I will say that my faith got stronger, especially during the last cancer. I really stepped back and I let God lead me through it. And even afterwards, it's kind of like, what will I do now? What should I do now? What do you want me to do now? Because I didn't want to go back to what I was doing before. It was actually very unhealthy to be in the environment I was in. And now I'm able to prioritize my health and then help others be healthy and heal and recover. And that brings me the greatest joy ever.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, you talked about letting God lead you through it.
Yes.
Oftentimes we hear folks say they have an issue with letting go to Him. What message do you?
With, I'm sorry.
We
What
seem
was
to
the question?
glitch. I'll repeat the question. So I stated, you mentioned earlier, letting God lead you through it. So what
Okay.
message do you have for an individual who has a difficult time giving it to Him, their battles, or letting Him be in control?
Right. Well, I think that we think that we can control everything. And honestly, certain professions. So, for example, when I was an executive assistant, I was trained, right, to take control of everything. I had to be proactive and I had to manage everything. And planning was a big, big part of what I did then. And that's why it was actually very challenging for me to take a step back. But I felt that it was necessary. And I think, recommend that with others too. It's great to look ahead, but when you are going through cancer treatment, I believe that staying in the present somewhat, believing that you're going to get through it. But it can be very, very overwhelming to either look back and think about, how did I get here? Why did I get cancer? And ruminate about that, which is completely unproductive. And then thinking so far ahead that you're not able to manage the day to day, which is extremely challenging. So believe in yourself, believe in God that you will get through this. And with learning some of the tools that I have created, that can actually help make it a little bit easier along the way.
Wow, that's powerful. And the last question for you, Lisa. So,
Yeah.
with all that you've been through, you seem to have lots of gratitude. What does gratitude mean to you, and why is gratitude so important, Lisa?
Gratitude is actually everything. When you've gone through, as I think some others can attest, any kind of trauma, and by the way, cancer is very traumatic, and many people who do go through cancer end up with a PTSD of some sort, because it's really not only the physical part, there's a lot of mental things that you go through when you are going through treatment. I always say, like, I'm grateful for every day, when I wake up. It's like there is no bad day if it's a day for me without cancer. And I don't sweat the small stuff. And I find joy and peace in just about everything. And that's what I like to help inspire others to do as well. It's not making light of it, but you have to kind of look at where you are and find little moments of joy and peace and gratitude to keep you going.
That's very true and very powerful. Thank you so much, Lisa.
You're welcome.
Honored
Thank
to have
you.
you a part of the LSCOA speaker series.
Thank you. My pleasure.
You're welcome. Now, our last speaker here before we move into speakers engagement. So get ready to ask any of our speakers here tonight. If you have any questions, yes, feel free to ask. Once we wrap up here with our last LSCOA speaker here for tonight, that's Sherry Klein. And now Sherry Klein, she's a speaker and CEO and founder of Age Well, Die Well. And now, Sherry, you spoke at our Global Warriors Conference. That's our in-person event of the year. And you spoke about the heart of dying and living well. Why did you select that particular topic?
Because, well, I've been with a lot of people who have died, and I've been part of their process before they died. And I've been in the medical world, seeing it from that standpoint. But what I really, we can't learn everything in a book. Like in the medical system, they don't teach about dying. They don't teach about the spirit. They don't speak about the heart of how it is affecting and what is really important. And the more I've been with people, like the lady just said, because I am so aware of our life here is temporary and we make the best of it every single day. And it is about heart. And it was just very hurtful to me to see people who are going through such important. I mean, going through that kind of, the end of the life process is like the most important thing I think there ever is, because that is our opportunity to make sure we can communicate everything we want to communicate. There's no do-overs. And, why are we here? Why is every single person here? We're here to connect with people, to serve each other. And if everything is just about the medical procedure and about the body systems, we are forgetting. And I worked in cardiology too for many, many, many years. So when I think of the heart, I think of the heart, as a system, but I also think of it as the connection with our spirit. And it's like this.
That's right. Wow.
And we need to, that's precious.
Yes, ma'am. Sherry, tell us a little bit more about the work that you do as far as age well, die well.
Well, like I say, I believe that I found different ways to age myself. And I found that the medical system didn't have all the answers for all the issues that I would go through or friends and family would go through. And so there is a lot of holistic things out there that can work. I don't not believe. I'm not one of those people. And I liked the one speaker. I'm sorry, I forgot. I didn't write down all the names.
Lisa.
Thank you. When she was talking about how we have to have complementary, we take the best of both worlds and create a plan for us. And so with my age well, that's what I like to do. I like to really get to know people, get the relationship with a person and find out what kinds of things they might benefit from and educate them and offer it to them, because, we only know what we know and we don't know what we haven't run across. So we go there. And then as we age or other things happen, but usually as we age, we will come to a place where we do end up dying. And I just like to make sure that everyone has that journey the very best that it can be. And it can be. Fear of dying is the number one fear in the world. And so I like to normalize the conversation. And in January, I'll be starting my death talks again, which is very organic. And I'll also be starting a good death series. It will be a 12-part series. And like I say, we just need to bring it, like talking about death brings us, it's not just about the end of life, it is about living. Okay, so every time we talk about preparing for our death or preparing for the death of our loved ones, in that preparation, we're talking about love and we're talking about what's important to us and what we want to share and remember and pass on. And it really can be beautiful. And so, yeah.
Awesome.
I just like to give that support and let people know that there are end-of-life doulas out there, and we are different than hospice, but we collaborate with hospice and we collaborate with people and families to offer a lot of support.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Sherry. Now, we do have 2 more questions left for you here before we move to our next segment. Now, the next question, we spoke about grief quite a bit here tonight. What message do you have for an individual who may feel stress in regards to grieving, and now they really, really feel stressed out and they feel burnt out, they're ready to give up? What message do you have for that individual?
Okay. Are you saying that the person is going through it themselves?
Correct.
Or they have lost someone?
They've lost someone and now they feel stressed.
Okay. Well, number one, there is no one right way to grieve. So ask when you feel you want to ask somebody for something, make sure you ask, because people do want to help and they just don't know how or what would be appropriate. And also, because there's no one right way to grieve, make your know that it's okay, and you can communicate it to people that you don't want to do what you did before, for example, or you need a break, or if you need time to settle aside, you can, and know that that's okay. Because sometimes our stress we bring on ourselves because we have all these things like preconceived notions that we should be doing it a certain way. And if we can allow ourselves the grace to know that I don't feel good, I feel really sad, and I'm trying to be strong. Well, guess what? If they need that time to be sad, go for it, you know? And if you need help, be with someone, definitely. And I believe in prayer. I believe in meditation. I believe people need rest. So sometimes, like, I use a device called Brain Tap. It's a sort of meditation, and it has lights and it has sounds, and it helps our brain get into, or let's say get out of its circus brain, you know. It allows us to calm our brain without a medicine.
Thank you.
But anyway, so talking to somebody, reaching out and talking to somebody. Also, there's like moving our body. The grief gets stuck and we actually have to move it. So sometimes there's grief yoga, there's going for a walk in nature. So moving the grief will move around.
I love it. Very powerful. Now, the last question here. So you also spoke at our World Women Conference and Awards event. Now, again, earlier we mentioned a partnership that we have with World Women Conference and Awards here in Ragnar-Sinikas World Women Conference and Awards. Now, you spoke on grief in the holidays. Why is it so important to talk about this even in the holidays?
Yeah, it's really important. And I just mentioned a couple of the things actually that I was thinking of related to the holidays. And that's, for example, you don't have to continue your tradition. If you feel like doing something else, do it. Holidays are worse. Now, I'm not going to say worse. I don't want to say that. Holidays are different. Grieving is different during the holidays because we attach the holidays to memories. And all of a sudden that person isn't in our life, and we have the memory, and it's really hard. Whereas, like I like to say, you don't remember what you did April 7th in the year 1999, but you do remember maybe what you did at Christmas Day or Christmas Eve because you did it every single year. So that is why, but we don't have to always do the same thing, and we just need to share it with the people around us and love who we love, or like have your freedom, like say, I'll go, but drive yourself so you can leave if and when you want, and let them know, I'll give it a try, but you know, I'm not all up for it. And just because you change something one year doesn't mean the next year will be the same. You might want to go back to it.
I love it. Thank you so much, Cher. We appreciate you. And again, honored to have you a part of the LSCOA Speaker Series, and honored to have each and every one of you here tonight a part of the LSCOA Speaker Series. It's truly an honor, and bless your souls. Now, we're going to go ahead and move to our next segment here. We do have someone who raised their hand. Renee, yes, ma'am.
I just wanted to say that when I was talking about people supporting me, Sherry was one of the person that was helping me to understand what loss means and to understand the loss with losing my mom and my mother-in-law and what they went through and where they were. So it was very helpful. So if you ever need to spend some time with Sherry, she's definitely a great person to speak with.
Oh, thank you.
You're my buddy.
Wow. Thank you. Very powerful. And thank you for sharing that with us, Renee. Now, our next segment is the speakers engagement. And so we ask that all of you unmute your mics, and we're going to allow now a time for you all to ask each other questions based off anything that we discussed here tonight. Does anyone have a question for any of our speakers? Angelica, you look excited and anxious to get at something out. Talk to us. Do you have a question for any of the speakers here tonight?
Nothing that I can think of right now. Everyone's talk was so amazing. I'm just kind of more in like an area of just being inspired.
I love it.
It's an amazing thing.
Thank you, Angelica. So now we just
I'll just kick back on that. Everybody had so much to say, and it really does make you think about different areas where we spoke about cancer and we spoke about loss and we spoke about the how to gain confidence. And I just want to say I'm grateful for this group. I'm grateful for the support system and meeting you all and hopefully connecting with you all after this. So I hope you take me up on my link that I put in. I'd love to learn a little bit more about you and your journey.
awesome. We're still taking more questions. If anyone has any questions before we rewind 2024.
I just love hearing everybody's story because you're all precious.
I love it.
Actually, I did think of a question. I was wondering if all of the speakers would maybe be able to share their information. I don't know if they want to do like socials or just so I can connect with them and people watching can connect with them as well.
Great idea. Love it. Would the chat suffice, Angelica? Would that be okay? Okay, cool. Awesome. Does anyone have any questions? Other questions? All right, I guess we're going to go ahead and move to the next segment here, which is rewinding 2024 LSCOA events. And so I do have a video I'd like to share here. And this is from the LSCOA team here. Okay, can you all hear the video? Can you all see the video?
No, no.
Yeah.
Okay, bear with me here. How about now?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, awesome. We're gonna go ahead and rewind the 24 LSCOAs. Here we go. Thank you all so much. We truly appreciate each and every one of you. Now, that is the rewind of our 2024 annual LSCOA events. Now, we are going to go ahead and fast forward a bit here. Yes, we can do that. Fast forward to 2025 LSCOA events. And we are going to go ahead and release that now, the events for 2025. Here we go. So the upcoming events in 2025, we have the Global Leadership Conference in March 21st at 5 p.m. Eastern. We also have the in-person event of the year that's in Palm Coast, Florida. And the exact location we will be announcing pretty soon here. That's September 19th through the 20th, 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern in Palm Coast, Florida. And again, as one of our speakers who spoke at the second annual conference said, you want to be in the room. That's where the magic happens. You want to be in the room. And some of the speakers here tonight were at that conference, and you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it's nothing like that in-person event, right? And essentially, as we gradually go from COVID and where we were with COVID many, many years ago, it's such a blessing to be even able to have an in-person conference. It's such a blessing that we are able to even gather together. Again, this is a faith-based leadership and business event, and the umbrella being warriors. And make sure to bring a notebook and a pen. We will also provide you with one in the swag bags. And yeah, some more goodies in the swag bags. Really looking forward to it. We also have our 6th annual Global Domestic Violence event. That's October 8th at 3 p.m. Eastern. And that one is online. And then the next conference here is the Global Breast Cancer Conference event in 2025. That's our 6th annual Global Breast Cancer Conference. That's with Ragnar Sinikis with World Women Conference and Awards. That's for both the Global Domestic Violence event and breast cancer. Now, the Global Breast Cancer Conference, that one is October 15th at 3 p.m. Eastern, and that one is online. And then our end of the year event, again, we will have the 2025 annual Global LSCOA Gala, God willing. That's December 10th, 2025 at 5 p.m. Eastern, and that one is also online. And as we move forward in this lifetime, and as God has led us to do these events and the things that we're doing here now, we're hoping that we do have more in-person events. But this is where we are right now as of 2024. And He's called us to have that one in-person event of the year, which is the Global Warriors Conference. And it's such a blessing to serve with you all and serve others with each and every one of you in the room tonight. And those of you who are part of the series as well, speaker series. Such an honor. Now, I want to take a moment to show our appreciation and acknowledge our sponsors. Grateful for each and every one of you. Oh my goodness, I can't tell you enough. This is not possible without you all. So thank you. Thank you so much for all that you do. And whether it's the in-person events or the online summits, thank you for continuously showing up and showing your support. We appreciate you. And now the next segment, before we move to our activity here, and then we're going to wrap up the night, is we're going to cheers. So where's your beverage? Does everyone have their beverage here? By that, I mean their water, right? Do you have your water? Okay, awesome. So we're going to ask that you bring out your beverage, hopefully water. You bring it out, and we're going to toast, and we're going to cheers. It's been such an honor and such a blessing. I'm going to allow some time now for folks to grab their beverage. I can see you grabbing your beverage. Take your time. No rush. Sherry, what's that? What do you have in your hand? I can see you trying to show
Protein drink.
a protein. Something I should be having during my marathon training. My trainer will probably be hard on me about not having that. But what kind of protein drink?
Rockin' protein.
Oh, there was a technical glitch.
Oh.
What type of
This particular one is rocking protein.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing that. So everyone has their beverage, as we're going to go ahead and do a virtual cheers here and a toast. Again, I'm grateful for each and every one of you. Grateful to our team members, grateful to our sponsors, again, our speakers, all of you who come out and show your support and listen in. I know we share it out and we repurpose it on the podcast as well, all the events. Again, we appreciate you all. This is possible because of you. And as we move on into the new year, many blessings to each and every one of you. A lot of gratitude. Gratitude truly matters, and it's a honor, it's a blessing, and again, such an honor to collaborate with you. I'm really looking forward to 2025 and just letting go and letting him, and all the glory to him. This is possible because of him. I don't need it. I don't need it. All the glory to him. And does anyone have a few words that they'd like to say before we toast?
Cheers to you, Gigi.
Yes, Gigi.
I'm so blessed to have Renee connected me with you, and you're just an amazing soul.
Thank
You're
you.
really making a difference for our world.
Yes, totally.
Here's to a happy, healthy, and successful 2025 for all.
Amen.
Excellent.
As you say, 2025, I can't help but think that I almost lost my life in what a few years ago, death by strangulation in a domestic violence relationship. And when I say that, I mean it in a genuine way. As we approach 2025, it's a blessing, right? It's a blessing to be able to serve others with you. So thank you. Thank you again for making us look at the positive things as we approach 2025, CJ. And again, thank you, Sherry and Renee, for your kind words. And thank you all.
Thank you, and happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays.
Happy holidays. Cheers.
Awesome. Now we're going to go ahead and move to our activity here before we end the night. And so the activity here, God's put it on my heart, which I find it very awesome here, this activity. So in the next 5 minutes, we're going to allow you all to create an acronym. And you're going to create an acronym out of the word leader. Leader. And you only have 5 minutes. So leader, and then once you create the acronym out of leader, we're going to go ahead and share it as we end the night here. Because each and every one of you are leaders, and we want to hear what from you. This is just an activity here. So next 5 minutes, leader, creating an acronym in regards to the word leader, and then we're going to share before we end here. And it starts now, the 5 minutes. Looks like myself and some others are already done. So if everyone finishes, we can go ahead and share early, I guess. Only a few more minutes. Is anyone done with their acronym? Yeah. Wes, you're laughing. Are you are you done with your acronym or are you still
Yeah.
working on
If I had an emoji for the guy tapping out going, just cut me off. I don't know what to do here. I know what to do. I'm just not finding anything.
That's okay. That's okay if you don't have anything as well. It's all right.
I can go if you'd like.
Okay. It was meant to be challenging, by the way, this particular. That's why we put you guys in
Hey,
the hot seat.
Cindy's gonna go for me. Cindy has mine.
Well, that's fair. Yeah, the Doe family. There you have it. On behalf of the Doe family, I'll take it. All right. So the Doe families were set. Okay, they're done. Just 2 more minutes here. You all can do it. You can do it. Leader. CJ, does that mean you're all set?
Pretty much. Love education always does everything right.
I love that. Wow, that's powerful. Oh my goodness. Wow. All right. Cindy, did you want to share?
Absolutely. I have leaders learn, evaluate, apply, develop, effective, responsible.
Wow, incredible. And I have let go and let him educate. You are awesome. Don't give up and extraordinary because you are extraordinary. And lastly, remember your why. Awesome.
That's awesome.
Thanks. Who wants to go next?
But I will. It's not a sentence really, but it was all of the things that came to me with each letter. It's just like they came to me. So do everything you do with love, with positive energy, with a great attitude, have the determination that you can help and empower others and elevate others. And most of all, be real, be your authentic self.
That's a good one too. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Angelica.
Okay. Ooh, well, there mine goes. Right on the floor. Okay.
There goes.
Mine, I just picked some words that I thought, I don't know, were reflective of traits of a leader. So I have love, empathy, advise, determination, energy, and respect. But I think you guys have inspired me. I'm going to rewrite right now.
You did amazing. Thank you for sharing, Angelica. And remember, you guys are in the hot seat. This was an activity and it was meant to be challenging and you all are doing great. Thank you. Yeah. Anyone want to go next?
Well, I'm just going to say, which every mine's kind of the same thing as everybody. So I just agree with all of you on that when it comes to leadership. So
Okay. Awesome. We'll take it.
short way out of it.
Thank you, Renee. And Sherry, was there anything that you'd like to share?
Well, I just kind of threw words out there that came to me. Listen, essentially, age, die, extraordinarily real.
Wow. All of those are powerful. Thank you so much. And thank you all for
That
participating.
was fun, but you had great words. You had the opportunity to think ahead.
Yeah, and literally just letting go and letting him hear. And again, it was meant to be challenging. You all were in the hot seat. It's just an activity here. Again, with so much in this world, right? Can be serious all the time, right? You have to be able to just laugh a tad bit there. And again, grateful for each and every one of you. I know some of the subjects that we covered tonight were very hardcore, as some would put it. Again, thank you for coming forward, beautiful souls, and talking about what you've spoken about. And thank you all. We truly appreciate you. And as we wrap up, again, we look forward to seeing you all in the new year, 2025, and happy holidays. And God bless you all and be safe. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye for now.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Yes, ma'am. God bless.